Welcome to I Freaking Love Movies. I'm your host, Josh, and this is a spoiler talk of Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 3, Beloved Mother and Beloved Son. Now, this was one of my favorite chapters of the movie. It had more of a fleshed out backstory of Cyborg, and it gave a little bit more into the Flash. I see why Ray Fisher was pretty angry. I don't know why the Cyborg stuff was even cut out. It makes absolutely no sense. Because that was probably some of the best story of the whole movie, and I don't understand why they thought that it was a good idea to take it out. So we're gonna first talk about Barry Allen and Iris West that first moment when they see each other. It was a little bit of an awkward Barry, but it really worked for him. I wasn't a huge fan of the job interview scene at the pet store. It didn't work as well for me, but I mean, it was there. But when it came to the moment where Iris is looking at Barry and Barry's looking at her while she's driving, it was a little no when you're driving. But I mean, it worked for the most part. The song was pretty good. The tone of it was awesome. When she hit the back of that truck and was being launched out of the car, and she's about to die, and then Barry uses his super speed ability and it runs out, busts through the door. It worked. The slow motion, his shoes exploding, which was really cool. Because, I mean, I believe that kind of stuff would probably happen. That's why he has the suit. But there was a moment that where he realized like maybe she's the one where he's, she's being launched. He's going to grab her, but there was a little bit of a cringe moment I was not particularly fond of. And that was when he strokes her hair. I mean, she's about to die. You don't need to be doing all of that. And then grabbing the random hot dog for the dogs later on, but just grabbing it and then stroking her hair. Like, oh yeah. That moment didn't totally work. I like the moment where he grabs her and he gently lays her down. And they have a little bit of a moment right there. That worked. The hot dog and the stroking of the hair did not. And then he realizes that he takes off, goes back into the pet store, and hands over the hot dog to all the dogs to try to get the job. That scene was okay at moments, and it was great at other moments. So overall, Then we get the Cyborg backstory, which I'm having a lot of trouble thinking why any of these were cut. You get to see Victor's mother and Victor playing in the high school football game. And it gives Cyborg a more of a human element, which was really missing in the 2017 version. It also showed his resentment for his father, who never showed up to his games and was way more involved in his work than his son's life. I mean, even though his work caused him to save his son later on, it's it shows that more story to why Cyborg is the way he is. Um, then the game-winning touchdown, and he's celebrating, and he looks up, sees his mother jumping up and down, and he sees the empty seat where his father's supposed to be, and it kind of took him out of his celebration. And then there was a little moment with his mom in the car about knowing his mother extremely busy, but she still makes time for him. For seconds later, and he for them to get into the deadly accident, for his father to finally show up, and the doctor tells him his wife has already passed, and his son won't make it either. And his dad tells him, "I won't let you die. I won't allow it." And most of this movie is his dad trying to make amends with his son, while his son blames him for everything, for his mother's death, and for him turning him into this Frankenstein creation. It makes you care more about Victor, going through all of that, and then also being part alien technology. So I mean, it's all new to him, and it also shows a lot more of what Cyberborg is capable of. It opens up his interface, like he goes into his mind, shows that he has the power to control all the nukes, and he can just launch them just with a thought. That is pretty awesome. That just shows how powerful Cyborg is. The 2017 version, I knew he was powerful and I knew he could do a lot of different things, but it never showed the grand scope of everything that he could do. And it showed his ability that he can manipulate the stock market, which was cool because they did a bear and a bull, and they were charging at each other, and it was such a cool moment. Um, and one of my favorite moments is when he saw a struggling waitress with her children that was barely surviving, had to pick between certain foods, had struggle paying her rent. She had an eviction notice. She even gave some money to a homeless guy, even though she was struggling herself. I mean, she didn't have a whole lot of money. I think in the bank account it was like $6 or something like that. And Vic saw this and he manipulated the system and gave her like $100,000, which was so awesome because, and it said that she won a contest. So, and Vic went to the bank where she was pulling money out, and it happened, and she like was celebrating, and it was like a real human moment because that type of stuff is based off of what happens, the struggles of what a lot of single mothers go through. So it was such a huge heroic moment, and I don't know why it was ever even cut from the movie. Made no sense to me. Then we get to see a scene with Barry and his father, and his father telling him, "Stop wasting your time and come and see me all the time." And this scene, and his father also told him, "Make your own future and stop living in the past." More on that later. That will be that line will come in one of my favorite scenes, and we'll talk about that one. This scene didn't work as well for me, and I think the 2017 version was a little bit better. Not saying that this was horrible, but it did work a little bit better in the 2017 version. And then we get to see Barry Barry's secret lair. And Bruce is sitting there. This is a moment. This was a scene that was in the 2017 version, so now we know it's Zach's. Which it was a great scene. Everything except the stupid brunch joke that was in the 2017 version, which is not in this one. So I was so glad I didn't have to hear that crap again. And then when Diana goes to see Victor after she was searching for him, Diana says, "We need your help." The world does, and he replies, "Fuck the world," which it still shows the resentment that he has for everything that has happened to him and for everything that he's going through. And then she gave him a speech. They gave him a little bit of hope that he was willing to help. And that's where we get the first clue of when Silas learns about his laser that superheats the alien metal. And Silas does get captured by a parademon after he thought that his son destroyed the apartment, but it wasn't his son. And then we get a brief scene with the legendary J.K. Simmons at the precinct. It just adds a little bit of the world building so this scene did really work. We never got a Batman Superman or a Batman solo movie, which sucks. And I hope that they do continue with this and we do get a Batman movie. I still love the moment when Barry is fanboying out about the bat signal. It was such a great moment. He's like, "That's the bat signal. That's your signal. Oh, shh. That means we gotta go." And he's like, "Yeah, that's what it means." It was an awesome scene. And that was in the 2017 version too. So we know that was Zach's scene now. So, and then we finally get the Atlantis scene, and Steppenwolf extracted from the info from one of the Atlanteans, and he just manhandles this guy, and he's like, "I'm not telling you nothing," like, and he puts this little spider like creature, and it sticks onto his head, and it puts an image of where it is located. So it was kind of a betrayal, but it wasn't because he didn't do it. I didn't like the Atlanteans and their whale sounds. When they're not in their little air bubble, they make whale sounds, and it didn't really work for me. I liked that in Aquaman they went with they can talk underwater and not having to use a bubble, because if you just heard whale sounds the entire time, it would just be like, why are we doing this? So that didn't work, but it was a great scene. We get a little mini battle at Atlantis, and Steppenwolf is just hacking people up. I think he's cut guy right in half. It was pretty cool. And Mara, even though you think she's over her head, she pulls off one of the biggest badass moments of the movie, I would say. It wasn't as good as some of the scenes in the final showdown, but it was awesome because she is being held by her throat by Steppenwolf, and she sucks out the water from Steppenwolf. And as she's doing that, it turns to blood. So she's sucking out the blood from his face. It was so epic. And then he just like throws her just so she doesn't do it anymore. And I was like, that moment made Mara 10 times more badass. And as Steppenwolf is about to kill Mara, because obviously you're sucking blood out of my face, I'm gonna be a little mad too. And then Aquaman shows up, and Aquaman even gets manhandled by Steppenwolf. And it was a little mini fight, and then Steppenwolf gets the second mother box and takes off. And then Victor finds out that his father's missing. And then he's finally has enough motivation to go find the others to try to stop what is going on. Overall, I would rank this scene probably second out of the 7. It's not as good as a particular scene, and we'll talk about that later. But that's what I thought. Tell me what you guys thought. Like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.